Hello. A couple of examples for you, just as a little help towards this homework. First question then, you can read it there. Find the equation of a line parallel to that one, which passes through that point. So there's a couple of key concepts that you need to master here. The first one is the fact that any line needs to be written in a certain form for you to be able to find out the gradient and the y-intercept. So we're going to take the line first of all, x minus 3y equals 7. And because we want a parallel line to that, we're going to need one with the same gradient, and therefore we've actually got to find the gradient. So this is quite a difficult example deliberately. The ones that you've got to do are slightly easier. Let's start by thinking we need to get y on one side. So if I circle my terms, I've got a plus x term, a minus 3y term, and a plus 7 term. So I'm thinking, let's try and make the y positive to start with. So I want to move this term to the other side. So that's going to give me 3y on this side. And I want to get rid of this plus 7. So on the other side, I'm going to have x take 7. Nearly there. I need y on its own. So I've got to divide every term by 3. So I'm going to get a third of x, or x over 3, minus 7/3. We don't need to work out 7/3, it's a horrible decimal. Now that we've got that, we can say that the gradient of the line that we want is going to be 1/3, because it has to be the same as the one that we found here. So that's part of it. Any straight line has the equation, as you should know, y equals mx plus c, where you need to actually say what the values of m and c are. We already know that m is a third, so we know that y is a third of x plus c. So if we just give ourselves a bit of space here, we can shrink that down. I've drawn a little axes there. At the moment we have a line of a gradient a third, which I'll draw in pink. So it has a gradient of a third, we know that. It's quite shallow. But what we don't know is exactly where that crosses the y-axis. We don't know c yet. So it could be there, or it could move up or down. What we do know, however, is a point that it passes through, which is 6,2. So we're going to use that information, because we haven't yet used it. We've used the parallel bit, but we haven't yet used this information here to work out the value of c. Any point that lies on a line has to obey its basic rule. The basic rule for this equation here, which I'll highlight in green, is that I multiply x by a third, or divide x by 3, and then I add a number c, and it gives me y. So that has to work for the point that we're interested in, 6,2. Essentially what we're doing is substituting, but it's important to understand why we're substituting. So we're going to substitute down here at the bottom. So as I was saying, that point highlighted in green, 6,2, must obey the rule. And the rule is we take x, which is 6, when we divide it by 3 and add c, we should get y, which is 2. So 6 over 3 is 2, add c equals 2. So 2 plus c equals 2, and from that you should be able to see that c has to be 0. So our final answer is y equals 1/3 of x plus 0, which we can just write as y equals 1/3 of x.